Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Reality is where words do come to life. I said I was doing 15 days of evidence. I've done two of the three. This is day three. And I'm going to do day four behind day three. And yeah, I've been a little slowful, life, you show up and that's okay. But I'm still going to keep my word, especially since it's election season and those who are responsible for railroading and sabotaging Frederick Collins from being on the ballot is still in the seat of running for the mayor of Chicago, which I don't really think that they're equipped to be the mayor of Chicago. Today I saw that Chicago Tribune supported Paul Vallis, and it's puzzling because Paul Vallis has a horrible record with Chicago Board of Education. There are some things in his past that took place as it relates to children that nobody seems to be talking about. So I'm trying to understand, first of all, y'all sabotaged Frederick Thomas from being on the ballot because you knew that he would proceeded, he would have superseded all of y'all and walked in the door. Secondly, um, the FOP, Chicago Tribune, has supported Paul Vallis, but did anybody do background check on Paul Vallis' history and his record as it relates to Chicago Board of Education? What about the situation with Barbara Bird Bennett? See, y'all was so hell bent on getting Collins off the ballot, you never stopped to check for those who are on the ballot to see if they have any history somewhere. So I'm trying to understand for a news media outlet that knows all the news, how in the world did Chicago Tribune end up supporting Paul Vallis for mayor? I'm trying to understand this. And what about those children that was abused in Chicago in CPS that he covered up? Yeah. What about the embezzlement of school funds with Barbara Bird Bennett? He said he was not a part of, but he clearly was affiliated with the group who potentially received the money. Again, you have these candidates that's running for the office, and nobody is digging in the dirt to find out do they have any history? Are they really qualified to sit in the seat? And again, as I said before, nobody is qualified to sit in the seat as mayor. You want to know? We don't have a good bunch to pick from. The tree is still bare, even though it has a little fruit on it. The fruit is not that great for picking. It's like you go to the store and you select the greens, but it's the only one bunch of greens left, and all the leaves got a little brown on them. Well, for the candidates that's still running for mayor, all the leaves got a little brown on them, and they're not the great bunch to pick from. So my suggestion is stick with what you know, even though I don't think she'd be a good person to sit in the seat, but it's better than what you're gonna get. Willie Wilson can't talk. Um, Paul Vallis got a history with the school kids that people don't want to talk about. Roger Sawyer was on council with Mayor Lightfoot, and so was Sophia King. Um, Cam Buckner got two DUIs. Wow. Willie Wilson can't talk, and Brandon Johnson got booed in a forum. So he's the slick one responsible for getting Collins kicked off the ballot. And Chewy, won't trust him neither because it would not be fairness. First of all, he would really swing towards his people, and everybody else would suffer the short end of the stick. So let's call it for what it is. Ain't no sense of sugarcoating it. Call it what it is. There are no real good candidates, and even Jamal Green has a record. So, I mean, it is what it is. You have slim pickings in this one. So let's get to this. Day three of evidence, sabotage railroad America candidate Frederick Collins. And I still want us to understand how manipulating our system is, how deceiving our system is. And we've gotten to a point that we can't trust nobody but God. because some of these individuals that run for office have already been in office. And if you look around you and see the territories that they cover, much change. So for those who's contemplating on who you should pick, you really don't have a good choice because if they're sitting in a seat right now and they represent you as a state representative, they represent you as an alderman, they represent you as a congressman, they represent you as a businessman. Look around your neighborhoods. You can tell the evidence of what they have done for you as a constituent or registered voter by looking in your community. And really, if you really want to look around, there's nothing done in your community. Chewy Garcia goes to Washington, and it's the senators and the congressmen who decide to raise the ages of seniors for retirement to 67, and they're trying to push for 70. So, how are you really helping people? But nobody. Y'all putting individuals in deeper, deeper hardship than what they are already in. And that's sad on your part. And the good thing about it is God keep great records. And he gonna slap some of y'all to sleep. I promise you. And again, I know you dig, I know you ear hustle, I know you do this, you do that, and it's fine. It's okay. So day three of evidence, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay? So we can be on the same page because somebody posted that I should put up the evidence of the video. So that's what we're doing. Day three of evidence sabotage railroad American Frederick Collins. So you see this sheet said highlights and transcript from court hearing. Proof American candidate requested subpoena for Andre Holland. Okay, here we go. You can see the hearing officer says, why should Mr. Holland be subpoenaed? And here is the answer to that. If you're accusing somebody of something, don't you think you should come to the table with some evidence of what you are accusing that individual of? Because if you don't come to the table with the evidence, then that means that what you're accusing that individual of is not valid. And here is the hearing officer, clearly you see on the screen, saying, why should he be subpoenaed? Why? Which don't make no sense. If the hearing officer is supposed to be a neutral party, then why would he question if Mr. Collins' attorney and him is asking for the person who went up to the Chicago Board of Election and put in a fraudulent document saying that the signatures were not valid? So clearly the FOIA was not filed per the Board of Elections paperwork. It was not filed. Nowhere to be found. And if that paperwork pops up, that means somebody has manipulated the system. So let's make that clear because we have documents from the Board of Elections stating that no FOIA was found from August to December. So if something pops up, we know somebody has manipulated the documents, right? And so the objector's attorney, Mr. Fine, filed a verified petition. That's sufficient, he's saying. And then the hearing officer comes back. So it's kind of you're being hypocritical in your response because at top you say why should he be subpoenaed, but here you say he doesn't have to be subpoenaed if he's a party. I mean, why would he be subpoenaed? People that's accusing officers go to court when they write tickets to show that the ticket they wrote was validated. You have to go to criminal court to show that the person stole the gallon of milk. You have to prove the evidence. You cannot look somebody up without proof. You cannot accuse somebody of something without proof. It doesn't work that way. That's how the law is designed to be. So why would the law be any different here? So Mr. Fine said, okay, I don't know. I have to speak with him. The hearing officer says, why don't you work that out, Mr. Avila? Yes, sir. Mr. Avila wants to hear him here. So do I. So again, you contradict yourself. Mr. Fine, okay. Hearing officer. He contradicts himself again. He's the objector. There should be no need to subpoena the objector. Why not? Why not? They said that Mr. Collins' signatures were not valid. You need to prove, you need to show that you are valid in your accusations. And that's what they cannot do. They cannot show that they were valid in their accusations. Mr. Fine, what day for arguments just here out? That's what we are going to set up, Mr. Collins. This will also be in an email to Mr. Bill here out to know you are going to tell him. People are funny. They try to justify what they do, knowing fully well they're wrong before they impart their lips to do the wrong. And these documents are perjury. That's pretty much what they are. They're perjury. So Mr. Collins kept repeating himself for the record. And here also, I got you. But clearly he didn't. The decision to kick him off the ballot, the ball was already in motion to do so, which is sad. And again, it is a bad look on the Board of Election to allow this type of behavior to take place. And it went all the way to the end. So the hearing officer, I'm suggesting you, sir, well, let me ask you this. I should ask counsel, will you produce Mr. Holland? Mr. Fine clearly says no. So this should have stopped anything right then and right there when Mr. Fine says no. That means that they themselves knew that they did not have any proof of what they was accusing Mr. Collins of. Shouldn't have went any further, but it did. Hearing officer, without a will, why should he issue a subpoena to the objector? Again, contradicting himself. So you say, yeah, he should. Then you say, no, he shouldn't. Then you say, yeah, he should. Then you say, no, he shouldn't. Make up your damn mind. It is or it isn't. Which one is it? Which one is it? So it shows you in these documents that the process of sabotage, the process and the steps of railroading was already in place. So that means that somebody behind the scenes has to use their authority to pull the strings to get this ball rolling. That also means that behind the scenes, somebody felt threatened that Mr. Collins was going to get into the office and they need to clear the threat off the road. And that's exactly what they did. So you can read the rest. We're going to skip down to the yellow highlights. Here it also, but answer my question though, counsel. Why shouldn't so now you're contradicting yourself. Now you say he shouldn't. Now you say he should. Now you say he don't have to. Now you say he should. Now you asking why should he when you just said he didn't have to. Mr. Fine, we have a verified petition, but who verified the petition? Where did you provide the evidence that made it valid? You need to prove what you're accusing somebody of because I can go out and say somebody stuck me up. Don't mean they stuck me up. So if I say that I got robbed by a white man and a black man, does that mean that I actually got robbed by a white man and a black man? No, it doesn't. I would need to show proof, or a camera need to have kept them doing the act. And nowhere again, I'm going back to the fire, which is the most important process in the step to making sure that your accusations are valid. And they were not valid from day one. Hearing officer, you have a verified petition, but why should Mr. Holland not be compelled to appear if Mr. Connell or Mr. Avila is so requesting? Again, wishy-washy. You got the seesaw. Again, are you in or are you out? Be confused. Maybe he didn't take his medicine that day. Know what it was. All right. So he goes on about the date, got the date of the hearing. Now we can pay attention to the dates now. And here, is there any need for a subpoena? Mr. Fine again says no. Hearing also, any subpoena being requested, Mr. Carter, do you know, sir? Mr. Carter, yeah, counsel would definitely be subpoenaing Mr. Holland to come in himself. Hearing officer, don't think that's necessary. He's the objector. Yeah, he's the one accusing Mr. Collins' signature not being valid. And Mr. Collins has affidavits, 800 of them, 800 of them. And most of the signatures that he received came from uh, different um, precincts. So what you're saying is the signatures that he received was not valid, and you're saying the people that signed the papers with affidavits are lying. Now, this is the rules and regulations that the Board of Elections set up. So how could you say again that somebody's lying? And if it's so easy for somebody to accuse somebody not to come in to suggest, again, as I've had many times before, lock the jail cells. Unlock them. Because a lot of people in that is in their accusations. They're on accusations. So you should let them go home. And as far as I'm concerned, even the ones that have proof, you should let them go home too. Because y'all either in or you out. Again, Board of Election rules are to file a FOIA. That means you have to sign in and show that you actually check what you're accusing somebody of. You can't blindly accuse somebody of something without the facts. You cannot, according to your rules. And if the FOIA has not been filed, that is the first step of canceling your objection because you have no proof, none whatsoever. Mr. Collins, exactly, but there's questions we like to ask Mr. Holland in regards how he came about his information. Hearing officer, that's all right. Mr. Collins, that's why I like to have the attorney here because so clearly Avila was not able to attend. And in hindsight, I think, could be wrong, but pretty much I may not be. Avila had his hands in it too. Um, it's all a web that is very tangled. And there are two spiders that sits in the middle of the web. They won't come down, but they spun the web themselves, but they won't come down in the midst. They're gonna stay right in the back where they can see everything and watch how it play out. And that's Pratt Winkler and Brandon Johnson. Okay. So now we know, now you know what we all know is that there is some evidence of day three. Now you draw your own conclusion and let me know what you think. Because for me, railroading at its finest, at its best, and somebody had to pay a lot of money to push this through. It was very serious for them to make sure that this happened. All right? Stay tuned. Evidence day number 4 coming up shortly. Reality is where words do come to life. Share, like, comment, subscribe.